I look at everybody as my brother and my sister, and I think they treat me just the same.
My dad had a terminal cancer, but he would have made you believe it was the common cold.
Ever since the beginning, he kept saying, I'm gonna beat this, I'm gonna be healed. I have faith, I know that God's going to heal me.
He kept that positive outlook the entire time.
Even when he would be in the emergency room, he'd say, I'm doing good, I'm gonna beat this, I'm gonna get through this.
It was never a bad outlook. Even when you know he was hurting, he would tell you he was okay, which shows you how strong he is.
I never saw my brother in pain. Whether he was the biggest faker on earth, I don't know. But he never complained. And I'm so not kidding you, just never complained.
I look a little bit different, I know, because I haven't done this in a while. But most people see a little bit more flesh on my bone. Most people saw a lot more flesh on my bone. A lot more flesh on my bone. I'm just getting ready for the new and improved Julius. Don't worry about it. And these muscles are coming back. I promise. I promise.
He woke up that morning and he says, you know, baby girl, I had the worst pain of my life last night. So I told him, well, just go to the emergency room. It's probably a kidney stone. It's probably nothing. So true to form, stubborn. He went and worked that day. And then by that evening, he said, you know, I'm going to check myself in. And he called me that night nonchalantly and said, well, it wasn't a kidney stone.
They were waiting on the images to come back, but they felt like it might be a tumor on the kidney.
And they found it also in my liver and my lungs.
We didn't know what cancer meant at that point, but they said stage 4.
Finally, to find that he had the rarest of the rare type of clear cell carcinomas. He had renal cell medullary carcinoma.
It affects black men with the sickle cell trait. It's just not one that just pops up, period. I mean, it's 1 in a billion, literally.
Of all things, you would have the rarest of the rare. He says, well, that means it's just going to be a bigger victory when I overcome it. And I said, exactly, you're special. For him to live 1 year and 8 days is a true testament as to how hard he fought.
Awesome people. I think I know the whole hospital. And I think the whole hospital came to visit me not too long ago.
It's amazing how one person can impact so many people.
We have 1,000 employees. My bet is they all knew him.
He might have been super busy, but he always made time for you and your issue.
The way he approaches, the way he talks to you, he's such kind-hearted, thoughtful, wants to get to know everything and anything about you just to see where he can help you.
Everyone he talked to, it was like they were his best friend. You would never know that he was having to tackle a really hard job with the computer systems. He just really gave it his all. It was just so much fun. We giggled about everything.
Julius would come down to the emergency department with broken equipment that were broken in the emergency department, and the way that he presented himself when the equipment was broken was just absolutely remarkable. You would think that somebody would come down and says, John, your ED's done it again. They keep breaking these equipment. Every time Julius came down, he would say, John, I know your emergency department is really busy and your team is great. They work really hard. But, you know, they must have run into a wall or they did something and this equipment has broken and this is what I'm doing about it. It's just really remarkable about even when he presented information that was not positive, it actually was quite negative, he did it in a positive way.
He loved to hoard computer equipment. I would go over to the storage cage over there and I'd say, do we need any of this? Oh yeah, we need that. No, I don't think you need that. When's the last time you used that? And I'd fill up our asset disposal bin and he'd be in a panic mode, but it was always funny just to watch him go through that.
I mean, occasionally, you know, I would ask him to go out and do some things, and he would never disagree or complain, but I would get that look. He'd pucker up his lips and be like...
He thought of this hospital as his family.
Carrie, thank you for coming on, and thank you for a great team that you run at Florida Hospital Fish Memorial. I consider you guys family, and your nurses take really good care of me every time I'm there. We're family.
He had a heart the size of the world.
I remember I stomped up there and I was like, JT, I'm having a really, really bad day. And so he sat me in his chair and spun me. We have those big black office chairs, and he spun me around in a circle about 5 times. And he was like, do you feel better? And I was like, I feel fantastic. I needed that. Thank you so much. And that was just something he didn't have to do. He made me laugh. We both laughed, and it made my day that much better.
No, he took work very seriously. That's the way he fed his family, and he'll make that known. Like, I don't play about work. This is how I take care of my family. This is how I know how to protect them.
Good afternoon, Facebook. I know a lot of you haven't seen me in a long time. I am no longer the 300-pound guy you guys used to see. I'm down to about 197 pounds, and I'm doing great.
We've had team members who've gone through a lot, and Julius was certainly one of the ones where when we knew what was going on, we knew he was in for a long fight. And I don't think anybody doubted that he was capable of fighting that fight, but I think we were all clear that it was a big fight, and Julius knew it was a big fight.
I need your prayer for this nasty thing that they call cancer. I call it the trick of the enemy, and it's gone. By faith. I walk by faith, not by sight. And like I said, I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
From the moment he came to the emergency room thinking he had kidney stones, he was enveloped in stories of faith.
He basically surrounded us with his arms like it was a huddle and told us that he was diagnosed, and he said, I'm going to fight this, and his number one request was for us not to give up on him.
He felt that he was going to beat this thing. I've never known him to give up on anything, so I kind of expected him to as well.
When I was going to my meeting, I looked at my corner of my eye and I noticed Julius coming out of our rooms. I immediately went up to him and said, hey, are you okay? I noticed you're a patient. He's like, yep, John, I'm being discharged. And I could tell Julius was a little weaker than he normally would have been because he was holding the wall rail that's in our hall. I immediately said, Julius, let me get you a wheelchair. I'll help you to your car. He said, John, I don't need that. I'm good. I said, are you sure? Are you sure I can get that for you? It's not going to be, John, I'm good. I'm going to go out there. It says, can I go with you? Can I help you to your car? John, I'm good. I got this. So I watched because, Julius was firm. That's how I knew that he was a fighter and that he's got the courage to do it because he walked there and I watched him. He walked slow, but he needed no assistance and he got up to his car and he got home safely.
My wife is here. She's made the commitment to stay that 6 to 8 weeks with me as well. She's been by my side every day. She's seen the good and bad of me. She's seen the worst of me in this process as well.
He was the type of dad that if I said I wanted something, he made it happen, no matter what. I call him Pop. I don't call him Dad and Pop. It's just Pop. And I picked that up from him.
My father is on. Hey, Pop.
Everything that's in us came from my mother and my father. My brother is a direct replica of my father. What you see, the selflessness, that's my father.
I would do things and my mom would be like, oh, you're just like your dad. And at first, you don't really want to hear it. But when you realize how cool he is, you're like, yeah.
When we went to his graduation from boot camp, he was so proud. And even though I was young, I can still remember how proud everyone was of him. Anything he did it well.
He was always the parent you can go to, like, Pops, I did something bad, man, I need your help. And he'll do everything to help fix it.
If he told you he was gonna do something, he was gonna do it.
He pushed me to be more or do more, very competitive.
It was school, work before anything. He did not play about school, and I respect that so much because it brought me a long way.
That was just him. He made sure that, he was going to teach you what you needed to know in life, and that's just what a big brother does, and he was awesome at that.
I actually made it up there by myself to vote. Everybody go out and do it. I've been doing this since I was 18 years old. Don't tell my wife I was driving, please. Or my daughter, because they have a fit.
When you go through experiences like cancer and other diseases, you realize there's really nothing I can control. And so you go back to, well, how can I make people feel okay? when we can't control everything. And so as a team, that's kind of where we shifted.
When you're talking about family and people that know you, they come and they rally at your support.
I'm here for them as a support structure for them, willing to help them out with whatever we can do to help them, whether it's cutting their grass or helping his wife around the house. Whatever they need to do, we'll make arrangements to help.
When I fell down and I felt sick, they're at my house more in my yard.
And thank you for the continuous support of my dad.
This groundswell of support really just for people asking, what can we do?
We worked with our HR department down at our corporate offices to open up a PDO bank for him so we could donate our time off in order to help cover some of his expenses and costs. We had a number of people that donated across our entire region in this area, not just from Fish, but DeLand, Daytona Beach, New Smyrna.
We'll keep giving you updates as long as we can until we're cancer free. The biggest goal is to ring the bell, and that's it.
Julius lived our mission here at Advent Health.
Because no matter what he was doing, he extended himself to help others. He extended himself even when he was extremely busy.
Put all your prayers so that we can bring him home. We're trying to get this oxygen down so he can fly.
There was some concern that had been raised about the ability to get him back to Florida.
Advent had said, listen, the CEO had said, we will pay to bring Julius home on a plane.
Let's figure out how we can bring him back. Let's at least not let money be the barrier to getting him back to Florida.
Once he can fly, he'll be home, and then I want everybody who's chiming in to show up and show out, okay?
But he was on 50 milliliters of oxygen, and the likelihood, he couldn't fly with that, and the likelihood of him coming home after talking to the doctors were slim to nil. But we had one doctor of faith that was there that was like, you know what? I'm gonna tell you, it's all up to him and the faith that he has. And so Julius, that night, my sister and I prayed and said our goodbyes, and we flew out, and we get a phone call from my sister-in-law. And she's like, look, Kimba, look. I was like, what? And I noticed that his high flow oxygen mask was not there. It was gone. He was down to 3 milliliters of oxygen, and he was on his way home.
He coming home. Right, Jay?
Coming home.
Coming home.
Coming home.
And then all of the family came and gathered around him. So when Julius left, he left on his terms. Cancer did not beat Julius. Julius just transcended to a better body. That's the way we look at it.
Love you guys. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. See, I don't even know how to work Facebook. I don't even know how to turn this off. Uh-oh, my wife sees me. All right, how do you end this?
Julius was family-oriented. Julius was infectious. And Julius was love.
You're gonna win this fight.
I think we all learned, no matter how hard the road looks, there's still a way to have a positive outlook on life.
Oh yeah, I think there's quite a few people here that looked up to him and the way he carried himself. He is an inspiration to all of us.
I miss him, and I'm sure everybody else misses Julius very much. I know he's on doing some great things. God has some big plans for him, but we will all meet again.
If you knew my dad, you knew what love was. You knew what being kind to others meant.
If there's anyone that can understand the power of prayer and perseverance, that's my brother.
I'm gonna tell you, I've learned how to do what I've learned how to do. I've learned to trust in God. I've learned to let it all go and put it in God's hands.
Something that my brother has always said, you know, Mama, in the end, the best gift that you and Dad gave us was Christ, because he has been the reason why I know I'll beat this. And we all know that in the end, my brother didn't physically beat it on this side, but the place that he went to after this, which is eternity, he more than won.
when you have people like that that have come to our lives, that they are divinely placed there. Sometimes to edify our spirit and to tell us that God's in control and everything's going to be okay. Sometimes to help us to realize that there is good in the world, and even in bad situations, light shines through it all.
My dad's a legend, and I'm proud to say that. I'm proud to be one of his legacies. I'll forever miss him. I miss him more and more every day. It doesn't get easier. It just don't.
You know, I agree. If you didn't get to know him, you missed a phenomenal man. But if you just look at all of the people who he touched, you'll know exactly what kind of person he was. There was not a room that he didn't light up.
You're gonna win this fight. It doesn't matter if he tries to take you down 1,000 times. You're gonna be alright.